Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you have had an excellent weekend and that your Sunday has been delightful. Ours is certainly going to be. There's definitely not going to be any consequences for our actions today. You're here for the next installment of our Dragon Age story. All Templars are bastards. It's the kind of vibes that this game has going, and I hope you all can appreciate that. Before we get going and doing our intros, I'm going to give my obligatory content warning for you all. The world in which the game is set is one known to many. It is a world where there are a great many injustices and wrongs which need fought against. As such, there are topics that will come up which include oppression, fantasy racism, prejudices against mages, imbalances of power which often become violent. We recognize that in telling the story of oppression and genocide against groups of people reflects the many tragic atrocities occurring in our world as we speak. While we feel that the stories of the fight against oppressive rule are important to tell, the health and happiness of our viewers are also crucial. As such, it is important that you all know the content of the story that we will be telling here so that you have the agency to choose whether you want to watch along while we tell the story of a fight against such powers, but equally you can turn off the story should you need to in order to preserve your own comfort. The group and I have discussed at great length our lines and veils when approaching this content, and active use of safety tools will be being used. We would urge you all to take care of your own comfort levels also. That being said, let us now tell a story of hope in dire times and for the fight for justice. I'm going to let my players do their introductions, but I shall start us off with hi. I'm Emma Hamalu on the internet. I use she, they pronouns, and I am the storyteller for these fine and fabulous people who are now going to introduce themselves and who they are playing. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. I am Torn, or Torn Talks Creativity on the internet. My pronouns are she, they. I am playing Genevieve Devereaux, the only rogue of the party. Her pronouns are she, her. And I think she's prepared to lie a lot. It's fine. We got this.
And it's me because we do not have a Val here this week, unfortunately. This is where they would normally go. But I am Alice, they, them pronouns. Today I am playing Florineus, who is the fun little necromancer that is also very much prepared to lie their ass off today.
Hi, everybody. I am Mary. My pronouns are she, her. Today I'm playing Aviana, whose pronouns are she, her also. She's our little blood mage that is ready to face the consequences of her actions. Yeah, don't try to explode a pirate crew. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Ella. My pronouns are she, her. I am playing Maddie Hines. Her pronouns are also she, her. She is the group spirit healer. She's very stressed at all times. And especially right now, much like me in real life, as we try to figure out how we're gonna decompress after the end of our last session, which I guess if you haven't seen, maybe you should check out before you watch this.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm sure everything will totally be fine, and Lion will definitely make it better. As has been mentioned, we have Noelle with us today. She's out traveling, and I hope they have a wonderful time doing so. We will just assume that there is a cardboard cutout of a nervous little bean behind you all, who's joining in and maybe quite quiet because of
Craig,
nerves, which
yeah,
is
Craig just
understanding.
has like a towel over
Craig-
over
Yeah.
Theowen, just bird.
Yeah.
They're breathing the square together.
Yeah. They're breathing the square together. Indeed. The lemon squares. Okay. So today's session, as always, I start with a little verse. With neither blade nor shield, Andraste gave herself up to her enemies, and Matharoth bound his wife's hand and delivered her to the Archon to be put to death. I'm sure that's not ominous at all. So, Andoran Atishan, everyone. Last session was tumultuous, to say the least. We started with an emotional conversation and a confession of love and some healthy adult communication. Bedtime brought with it a traumatic nightmare, a wicked grin from a fear demon, followed by the group closing ranks. Gentle care is given to help smooth the edges of panic. The next morning over breakfast, the group decompress and further comfort is given, just in time for the sounds of the alarm bell and of conflict from above. The ship is being boarded by waking sea raiders, and a fight ensues. It was difficult, with our heroes taking injury and a panic rising that they might not make it out of this alive. When things seem almost hopeless, our sweet, noble Ferelden allows the power within her to rise, giving in to the promise of unleashing her true potential to save her friends. Blood magic makes quick work of the remaining raiders on their part of the ship. Her friends are saved, undoubtedly, but the consequences of unleashing such magic may prove too steep. With the threat removed, the smell of blood is thick on the air, yet the feeling of being in danger has not left you all. The fellow guild members you brought with you dispose of the last of their foes, and they move in to close ranks around you all. An instinct, born of those who willingly fight alongside mages, but knowing the world is not so open. Nervous looks are given to you all. Their body language is tense and protective. Most of you are badly hurt, and I would like to know what is most pressing on each of your minds. It is worth noting both Griffin and Reagan seem to be closely flanking Aviana specifically, weapons still drawn and looking around to see if any threats are coming your way. So we will take our time going around the table. I just want to know, not necessarily what you're doing, but the thoughts that are most pressing in your mind right now. Go in the order of intros, because that's just how we all seem to organize ourselves.
For Genevieve, she's trying to think of the crew members that she's already talked to that might seem more favorable than not towards this. So like the first mate, potentially the pale beige that was more concerned about our health rather than we might cause damage and danger to them. Definitely her eyes are doing that. I'm looking around. I'm trying not to be obvious about it, but like who's closest? And then last thought, who does she need to take down first if it gets bad? Like who do we need to either knock off this ship, knock down, whatever it is?
I'm curious, just from what you've encountered so far with the crew of this ship, who do you think would be the biggest threat?
Honestly, I think that first mate. As much as I like her, I was gonna say, as much as I personally, Genevieve likes her.
Yeah.
I really think she is because Orthar is the captain, of course, and he's a very big man, but he's very caring too. And the first mate's the one that called him old goat and is a bit more of the taskmaster. So that's why she's like, okay. Yeah. Just eyes on her, like, where are we at? Yeah.
Mage, so
yeah. I would think that would have to take her down first if I had
to. Curious. Okay, next. What's your pressing thoughts, Flora?
First thought is outside of fuck. It's how do we get Aviana safe on a fucking boat? Because this is not a good positioning. Second thought is how do I make myself the biggest target here? And Floor just kind of like slowly is going to be moving like in front of Aviana, like stone faced, shoulders back, head up, looking probably more like their father than they would care to admit for a moment.
Love that. I love that for you. Aviana, what's pressing on your mind?
There's a lot of fear. Especially like the fear of feeling truly seen. Like there's a side that you always hide from people. Like not many people get to see everything. And she's hidden this for so long that the thought of someone seeing what she actually does and the thought of being seen differently and not accepted, it is just this growing fear that she's trying to tamper down because she knows if she loses control of her emotions, bad things are going to happen. So it is this back and forth going in her head of like, you need to run, they're not gonna be okay with it, and then where are you going to run? Just this constant trying to come up with a plan. I don't think she can even make eye contact with people. Like she just feels so small.
That instinct is probably why both Reagan and Griffin are flanking you protectively at the moment.
I mean, I, Ella, am really sad for all of these lovely characters who I care about, who are going through a lot right now.
Mhm.
I think so. Actually, I first of all have an admin point,
Yes.
which is last session when I healed Floor. Floor should have healed for way more. I actually only told you the number that was all of the bonuses I add to healing. I didn't even give you the regular heal rolls. So
Oh,
let me just like make sure that we know exactly how many hit points you have. So I actually can spend like 1d6 per point of mana. I'll
fair
spend
point a
3.
minute. Yep.
So you also heal an additional 12 hit points. So I think overall that's like 28 or
That
something.
puts me to like right under max. So
Beautiful.
Yeah. Much healing.
Healer's gonna heal. Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, now that admin is resolved, yeah. Maddie is really, really, really stressed, obviously. Right now, I think that her protective instincts are, she assumes that Genevieve is on her wavelength and is also looking for like ways to get out of this situation and smooth it over. That's also what Maddie wants. I think, much like Floor, it is occurred to Maddie that like we're on a boat in the middle of nowhere. Like the easiest way to fix this is to make peace with the crew, not to fight with them. And also, whilst Maddie does feel very protective of and very concerned about Aviana, actually right now I think the prime target for her protectiveness is Floor. I think that she can kind of see the way that, or I'm not sure, I mean, I'm happy to roll for this, Alice, if you think that it wouldn't be obvious, but if Maddie could tell that Floor is kind of getting ready to like sacrifice themselves, then Maddie would be getting ready to try and stop them. But if you think that that's like subtle or something that Maddie wouldn't notice, then I'm happy to like roll cunning or communication or something if you'd like.
you would definitely need to roll that. Like,
Yeah.
Floor doesn't look like, oh, they're going in to like sacrifice themselves. They are just like very stony, taking on that very like almost haughty to
Yeah.
venture,
If
looking
we're
down their nose at people.
Yeah. To give a number to be aiming for, if I can have Matty roll perception, empathy, and Floor, if you can roll a communication deception, because this is something I'm assuming you're keeping fairly. I mean, just your default was
20.
to.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
+1.
I'm an 8. Yeah,
I was fucking. It's a vent.
it's a
Vent's gonna
vent.
vent. Like
Vent's gonna vent. Yeah.
like they don't care about anyone but themselves. Fine. And maybe they'll surprise me. But
Yeah.
certainly from Maddie's perspective, all right, yeah, Floor's just looking cold.
Yeah. We're all certainly feeling a certain way. There's a sort of stillness in that moment where everyone is perhaps just kind of holding your breath. Things settle. The deck is a horrendous sight, and I shan't describe it for those who are squeamish with gore, but needless to say, that barrier has to be up for a reason because it's gory. And you have your people around, fellow members of your group are closing ranks.
So, question
Mhm.
from the crew, who is the closest to us?
Of the other the crew of the ship.
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry, the crew of the ship.
uh,
Mostly, can I see like the leaders, like Orthar or the first mate?
yes. Yeah, I would say you can probably see them. There is a moment, um, as quick as you can look for them. You can see that the first mate has moved to Orthar, the captain. And Rochella is speaking in a hushed tone by his ear. And he's like holding his hands up. You can see Bishop, like they're all just sort of like they're doing their own closing ranks.
Yeah.
And rather than going to you, you can hear Arthur say something quite abrupt. But it's in Kunlat, so you don't understand
I
it.
don't know that.
And he actually takes her into the area where there's a door. Some of you will have been in there, where certainly his room and her room are in there, and then also the room where they take their meals. So you, it's up to you whether you want to follow
not
or perhaps have a conversation with yourselves before you go in there. Get the story straight.
What I will do is I'm
Yeah.
not going to leave the group, but I'm not going to get near any one particular mage because I don't want them to be able to single out anybody.
Okay.
But I will get a little away from the group, more towards the crew, and just I won't yell, but we're gonna say I'm yelling.
Yeah.
Does anyone need healing? Is everyone okay? Is there anyone left on the ship that we have to take care of? So trying to maybe gently parlay, we will help you if you need healing.
Okay. I want you to roll a persuasion roll. The rest of you, are you physically gonna cluster together? I'm gonna give you guys the opportunity to like have your own conversation should you want to before you go and deal with the crew.
That's a 22 baby with 5 points on. Sorry. Okay. That was totally Genevieve.
Yep, you can certainly do that. The people who seem to be left on this deck of the ship is Betty and Maggie, your Ever and dwarf lady wives. And Rodella, the quartermaster, is there also. She looks to like the door where the other three all vanished and then over to you, like she's not sure what to say. But you see Betty, the Avra woman, just like slowly raise her hand and then point at her rib. She's taken a few big hits, but she was clearly like in the thick of it. It's like she's not sure if she should be doing this, so she's like,
I'll
I mean,
turn to
if the
Maddie and be
feeling's
like,
on offer.
Maddie, can you help me? And like, if we can heal her without using magic or whatever means Maddie has, and I will help.
For sure. Like Maddie will like scrub a bit of blood off the bottom of her nose, and nod, kind of glance back at Floor, suspicious. I think like Alice, from everything that we've seen so far in this campaign, I think Floor often kind of maybe defaults to this kind of cold front when they are in a situation where they don't want people to know what's going on under the surface. So I think like I don't know if Maddie immediately thinks it's suspicious that Floor is presenting this expression because it's maybe something they've done before. At the same time, Maddie's just a little bit like, the fuck is going through their head? I don't know, and it bothers me that I don't know. Concern Aviana, but like immediately goes forward and I mean I'll check a heal Betty.
Okay.
Would you like me to roll for it or
yeah, if you're gonna be rolling, if you're doing, are you doing magical healing?
Yeah, I've been doing magical healing in front of this whole crew. I'll do magical healing.
Yeah, that's fine. So yes, you're gonna need to roll for casting the spell. Sorry, yes.
No, you're fine. I was just saying, I'm hoping character-wise you've built a slight rapport with these people. And be like, we're good people. You did medical checks on them. Like, and you get eyes on you like that. Just like look at you like, like I'm totally communicating that.
Yeah, it's like so wait, hang on, because healing so many much heal. So double the dragon die plus my cunning, which is 8, 11 healing just from that, and then I'll spend 3 mana to do 5, so 16. So Betty heals for 16. I got 4 stunt points, which I could use to do another heal.
If you you could heal right away. You could. I tend to allow, you know how you get like
mighty spell, right?
Yeah, and I allow for like adding on extra healing should you want to. So yeah,
I'll stick another d6 on there then.
Sure.
So that is 11, 16, 19 healing. And yeah, I mean, I think that Betty did come through for a checkup. I remember she was a very chatty patient, right? Like that was what we said. So yeah, like Maddie immediately comes over and kind of like scrapes her memory for the content of the chatter, and then is like, so did you find the new grip for your axe like chafed less on your hands this time, or was it still slipping?
Yeah, I mean it seemed fine. Usually when I'm fighting I'm just kind of like in the zone, so I don't always
Yeah, it was
notice
really
things, but
impressive watching you run around. I was scared.
thanks. I've been told I'm kind of scary.
I mean,
Probably
it
to
looks
be.
like dancing, too. There's a kind of precision to it. I mean, it's not quite whatever the fuck ballet that she does, and Maddie points at Genevieve, but it was
You just did this.
still pretty
Basically,
cool.
I'm like a dancer and like shoves on her wife. Like who's just like narrows her eyes at you. Doesn't say anything beyond that, but
In Starkhaven, we have these dances called Kayleys. There's a lot more stomping than you maybe might expect from a more Orlesian temperament. It's more about communities coming together, life and force and power. And I think that those things your wife has in abundance.
Also, do you need healing? Are you okay? Talking
looks
to
up at
Betty's wife.
Betty, looks at you all, gives another narrowing of the eyes, and just shakes her head. I'm
Okay.
fine.
Then Genevieve will turn around. Just anyone else need any healing? Are we doing okay?
There's nobody else on the deck. It's just you
Okay.
guys. Everyone else vanished into
I'm
that
making
room.
sure that voice carries for that closed
Yes.
door.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. We've been so helpful.
We're good. We have benefits.
I think Maddie will like add like I mean I don't have a persuasion skill. I'm not trying to persuade anyone. But just like quite matter of factly will also raise her voice and say sort of almost stage whisper to Genevieve. I wouldn't be surprised if people wanted a little space, but if anyone wants or needs to find me at any point this evening or tomorrow morning, I'll be here on deck. Nice open ground, no surprises, no hiding places. Just feel safe. You can come find me.
Mhm.
And then Maddie will pretty much just sit down cross-legged on the deck somewhere really open where no one will worry that they're going to get ambushed.
And I'm going to help clean up this. Yes. Just walk away and just.
Yeah. You can see like the two wives looking at that whole thing, not sure how to process it, what to think. Just Betty's like scratching the top of her head and she looks at it like, how do you clean this? Yeah. The rest of you, obviously you're still going to be processing what just happened. A lot of you haven't spoken to each other yet about what just happened either. Because none of you have, I imagine, really seen that side of Aviana. The fact that magic exists, with her, is perhaps not a surprise to you. I imagine. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Aviana. That they know that you have those capabilities and it's something that you use.
Oh, it would be an absolute secret.
Yeah.
Absolute secret. Unless I
Okay.
think maybe Griffin might know. I think Griffin
Okay.
might know because of how injured she got one time and then she was suddenly better.
Okay. So then for the rest of you, including our mages, did not know she was capable of that. So I think, how do you all think you are going to act on this? Is this something that you're not going to address right now? Do any of you have questions for her? Like I say, the two powerful, in terms of like status, members of this crew have dipped so that they can have their whatever they're doing about this. How do you respond to this, aside from what's just immediately happened?
I definitely, as soon as I remember to, I leave blood magic mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think like Floor, I just give a look of like I just mouth, I'm so sorry.
Flora acknowledges it, but they're very much keeping up this front. Like they're not letting anyone like perceive Aviana the best they can. Like there's Flora at the front, and then Griffin and Reagan and
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, they're just trying to. If anyone looks towards their direction, all they need to see is some shitty Teventer mage, and they definitely like just give Aviana a short little nod. Say if anything, like there's not really a mechanic for this, but like that almost sallow green that their like entropic magic, like it just kind of they're making themselves a target.
Mm.
It just like highlights them, ruffles their hair, their clothes.
Yeah, you're making yourself look extra vinty. I will say Harry is probably going to approach the group, and unlike the sort of defensive stance that the other two are doing, he's not looking aggressive to any of you, but he's going to look to the two of you. Can't look at Matty, who's kind of gone off to deal with that situation. Who was it? Because I'd recognize that anywhere.
I don't think Aviana's doing a good job at hiding that she's very distressed right now. Like, I think mask is gone,
Yeah,
and she's just trying to keep a hold of herself at this point.
You've seen me explode enough, people. For calling it
not
me.
like that. Not like that.
Does it matter right now?
Yes, it fucking matters.
It-
That
it-
matters to me. The people who can do that, that
It was
matters
it
to
was
me.
me. It was
Aviana's nothing. Say nothing right now.
everyone is going to
No,
know.
no, they will not.
Okay. Okay.
I haven't done that before. Not like that.
You haven't done anything. Okay?
The crew of the ship are going to know that somebody's done something.
Yeah, they will. Not Aviana, though. They already want to paint a fucking target on my back, Hari.
What difference does it make who they pin this on? We're a group. If we're all taking the flag, we're all taking the flag. It doesn't matter who cast the spell.
Yeah,
We're
but
a
if they're going
group.
to shove someone off the boat.
It's a good thing I can swim.
No. They're not. If they want a fucking vent monster, I will be it. Blood magic, one more thing. I'm sure someone in my family tree knows about it. Fake it easy enough. Already looked the part.
I don't use it like that.
They're not going to care. That's the thing. We know. They don't. And that is why they don't have to know.
However it is that you all decide you're going to be dealing with this, you both of you need to keep your shit together, because I'm not having us dealing with demons as well. And he actually like clenches his fist like tight enough that his knuckles go white. The exact nature of what's going through his head, it's a little unclear. But okay. Well, what are we doing about it?
I can go below deck if
You
that.
need to. We all need to get a safe regroup. If we have to fortify one space, we do. You're not It's not going to be you. Okay.
Everyone was dying, and
And you did what you had to, and I'm going to do what I have to. Okay.
okay. And I think that Eviana just kind of is going to look down and just try to like go wherever she is directed to go.
I think Griffin is the one that kind of comes in with gentle hands, is going to support you just physically. I think he knows you well enough, probably knows you the best here, that in this moment, your ability to control your movements and yourself maybe a little shot right now if you're going through some shock. And so he's going to be there to be the support if you can't do it yourself.
If I do see them leaving, Jin definitely gives like a, not necessarily a command, because that's not what she does with everybody, but you know, like stay together, and very pointedly at Griffin. He's going to do it anyway, but like that, and then essentially Jen just doesn't want anyone by themselves.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah.
How are the rest of you handling this? Are we just leaving the other crew to their own devices right now?
I'll be honest, I think Jen might go knock on the door. Me as a person hates it, but yes.
Okay. You going yourself?
Who would be best to go with me? I'll be honest, I'm scared to bring Floor, but probably Floor.
Okay.
Yeah. It was Floor or Hari, okay? Both bad options. Flo, you think you can keep that shut up longer?
All my life.
Let's go.
Flora's going to turn to Griffin. Do not let her out of your sight.
Don't plan to.
As we pass him, Jen's just going to tap his shoulder. Just thank you.
And he is going to help you down the stairs and towards the area where the two of you sleep just now. He's not going to say anything at first. Because he's going to give you your space. But if it looks like you're sitting there doing the overthinking, having that low key or high key, your call, panic attack going on, we'll start to like just talk to you, not expecting a response, but he's just going to talk to fill that space, to give you something to mentally listen to and connect to while you're down there.
Yeah, I think she'd be very just inside, like that overthinking, quiet, like just shut down, like where it's very different than how she would normally behave, like complete different energy.
There's going to be a little like tap at the wood that's next to whatever kind of door frame there is to this area where you are. And you can see Reagan is there too, and he'll look to you, but he says it to the room in case you're not going to respond. Is room for another one in here?
Yeah.
Okay. He's gonna like look at Griffin. They exchange a look. It's up to you if you're paying attention to that or not, but they exchange a look anyway. And he's gonna come and sit down beside you and then join in with the just general talking into the space until you feel like you want to have a conversation.
Yeah. I think it would take a little bit, but then she just kind of probably will stand up and start pacing, and it like she just looks like she's trying to come up with a plan.
Yeah.
Probably like mumbling under her breath of like, okay, boat too far from shore, like just trying to come up with escape routes, and
Mhm.
that's what she's doing.
Griffin's just gonna kind of stop you and be like, "Hey," and he's just gonna like tip your chin up a little so that you lock eyes with him. Genevieve's good at what she does.
I knew better.
Right. I trust her.
I trust Jen
Yeah.
too.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
I have never done that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even know I could. I don't use it like that at all. I use it to fix me. And I undid someone.
Okay. Sure. But you saved your friends. And that counts for something. And I prattle on so much to you about stories about the Grey Warden, so you just like take a seat. And he's just gonna recount for you the tale of the Fourth Blight and tell you about the two sibling elves and the griffins. And he just goes on like he's just doing his like this is my hyper focus thing, but he gets to the bit where she uses blood magic. But she uses it to divert and control the battlefield with the Darkspawn. She uses it to help give their griffins an edge. He leaves out the sad part at the end and all of the consequences for that. But he is just regaling you in that way that he has done so many times, where he gets so passionate about something because he knows that you always sit there with that smile on your face when he does it, and he wants to see that smile. And he is showing you that he knows that in dire times anything can be a weapon, but anything can also be a shield to protect. So he's just pouring out that tale to you. Yeah. So we will leave you in that scene. Don't know how effective it is for you, but do you give him that smile, do you think, or is it not there yet?
There's a smile, but it doesn't necessarily meet her eyes. Like, she's trying. She doesn't want anyone else to feel bad. So she's going to put on a face. Like, it's almost like she goes back to when she was a noble. And like that you are on guard at all times because you never know what's going to happen. And it's just like she falls into that, and she hasn't fallen into that in like years. So I think like Griffin would see that like, oh geez, this is not good.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Matty.
I was just wondering if I can just have whilst I'm sitting in timeout on the deck.
Yes.
And Aviana and Griffin are downstairs in the dorms, and Jen and Flora are about to go talk to the crew. I was just wondering if I could ask the GM if I could do a thing in the background. We kind of established a couple times that like I kind of have the spirit healer aura thing that is in the video games but not really in the RPG. So it doesn't really have a mechanical effect, but we're just kind of going with vibes.
Yes.
Along the lines of vibes, I was wondering if I could make a spirit magic roll to see whether I'm able to kind of like just let that field extend across the ship. Basically, I just want everyone to calm down a little bit. I am not expecting there to be a mechanical effect of this. It's mostly for flavor.
If it is cool, it happens. If it's cool, it sure as hell happens. It isn't in the game system. I don't care. Do none of the games tell us the elves have the whole like cat eye thing? I don't care. It's in my game. It's in my game. Yes. I will allow you to roll to see how effective it is, maybe how far it spreads. But yes, it's gonna have an effect where people might start to feel those healing tingles.
Okay, roll. What did I get? Ooh, not great. 10.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, I think Maddie is really stressed.
Mhm.
But I think all the same, she is sitting on the deck, praying. I don't think she knows how she feels about Aviana doing blood
Mhm.
magic. I don't think she minds the idea of it used to help people, but I think she is disturbed by the idea of it used to hurt people. I think
Mhm.
she really sympathizes with someone like Harry freaking out a little bit
Yeah.
at like the violence of that.
Mhm.
So she's oh yeah.
If you allow, do you normally for in terms of actual game mechanics for switching on your spirit healing mode, you spend a sort of free, like a not free action, sorry, a minor action to essentially turn it on. If you're sitting there struggling to just naturally try to spread this out, you're having to close your eyes and really focus. Would you invite in and kind of allow Hope to assist?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. I'll allow you to roll again with Hope's assistance, who's just going to kind of come. And as you do that, there's that sort of slightly minty green blue kind of color that sort of just seems to emanate from you a little bit as you enter into your spirit healer mode, and you let your spirit friend join in the fun. So 13's better. Success. We love that.
Yay!
Certainly the people that are closest to you are going to feel that. Genevieve and Flor will feel it as they're kind of heading off to deal what they're going to deal with. The two wives certainly feel it. They don't necessarily know what it is they feel. They're not sure what it is. They just sit and you just see like shoulders relaxing a little as they sit down. They're also really not quite sure how to act yet because they've not been given any kind of orders, but they could see that their captain and their first mate were very tense. And that whole mess over there is a lot. That's a lot. They're, processing, but they ease a little. Even Harry, who is still standing on the deck of that ship himself, his own shoulders are still tense, hands are still balled up into really tight fists, and he's not moving. He's just staring at the mess on the deck. He, as the magic kind of emanates towards him, he doesn't necessarily ease up, but his head will tilt in response to feeling that, and perhaps even below deck, that feeling just kind of helps just wash over it, particularly the three who are in the little support triangle going on in that room.
And I think like just whilst this is happening, Maddie, like she has sat cross-legged on the deck. She's shut her eyes. She can feel the sea breeze going through her hair. It's cold, and she lets Hope come in and feels that light behind her eyelids, and she just clasps her hands and starts to pray, and specifically recites transfigurations. And she just on repeat, just saying it again and again. She just murmurs to herself, many are those who wander in sin, despairing that they are lost forever. But the one who repents, who has faith, unshaken by the darkness of the world, and boasts not nor gloats over the misfortunes of the weak, but takes delight in the Maker's law and creations, she shall know the peace of the Maker's benediction. The light shall lead her safely through the paths of this world and into the next. For she who trusts in the Maker, fire is her water, as the moth sees light and goes toward flame. She should see fire and go towards light. The veil holds no uncertainty for her, and she will know no fear of death. For the Maker shall be her beacon and her shield, her foundation and her sword.
Beautiful. So you have, we'll call it contemplations and meditations as you focus on that moment. To say that you're finding peace is perhaps slightly inaccurate given all of the troubled thoughts, but an attempt to reach out to all involved, regardless of what strong emotion they're currently feeling, and try to just ease that burden just a little. All right. So, Genevieve and Flower.
On the way,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, to that room, I will ask if I just pass Harry. Just look, I can tell you're upset. If you can do me a favor, just show that Maddie is not alone. Please. You don't have to hug her. Just show that people who are not us stay together. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if we can smooth this over.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't really get a verbal response.
I wasn't expecting one. Just hey, don't leave her alone in the middle of a big open area.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, I don't. What did he?
Please. Oh,
Sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and if he didn't, she would say something really mean. Okay.
Oh,
Not mean, but like very much we're either a group or we're not.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I love your words coming back at you. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is gonna. We'll wander the direction and sit on a crate. Generally speaking, close-ish to Matty. Close enough that should go down, is available for help,
do something,
but is quite powerfully in his own thoughts right now. Yeah.
And honestly, that's exactly what Jim wanted. Not like a hug fest, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, like this mage may be sitting alone, but will not be alone if things happen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll look at Floor and just, okay, so I'll admit, not entirely sure how we're going to do this, except remind them that they were paid for a purpose and that they were about to fail in that purpose. They transport us and they protect us. And that almost didn't happen. But let's be nice before that moment.
Genevieve.
Hmm.
We're going to blame this on me.
If we have to. That's not my plan A.
It's
That's
mine.
plan B.
You can be as nice as you want. They want someone to blame. They already look at me weird in the first place.
Don't get me wrong. I'm ready to play that card if we need to. Just don't offer it first.
I'll let them draw their own conclusions.
Exactly. I mean, come on. I'm very, opalescent and shiny. So you don't need to know what's underneath. Be stoic. Just like this. It'll be fine. I'm sure that people assume many things about their Kyun when they see them, too.
gonna get everyone off the ship one way or another.
Exactly. I've always read about mutinies. I don't really want to do that, but it might be fun. That's Plan Z. That's the last one, but it's still on the board, okay? And then we'll walk up to where they are. I'm assuming it's probably more like a room, not necessarily like a hallway that they went
It's
into.
a room. So yeah, it's like a small hallway. Two
Little
doors
ship
either
quarters.
side, probably, captain and first mate's quarters.
Yeah.
And then there's like a door at the end, which leads to, it's usually like the captain's private kind of area. It doubles as office where he takes his food, that kind of thing. It was where Matty got to hold the little pop-up clinic. But as you get closer, you can hear all three of them again speaking in Kunlat. But it sounds heated. Whatever it is that they're
Yeah, the
talking about,
tone.
they're not
Mhm.
agreeing on whatever it is. You can tell from tone that there are differing sides to whatever is going on. It's not like they're all going blood magic, what the hell? And agreeing with each other and just sounding really stressed. Like there
Yeah.
is tense conversation happening. But you can certainly knock on that door.
Yeah, and she's gonna look at Flora and just nod. Okay. Knock on the door and just, hello. As promised, I'm trying not to sneak, but I would like to speak with you if you have a moment. I might be able to help.
There's like quiet. Whatever argument was happening stops.
Yep.
There's a moment where you're like, and it feels like it almost goes on just a little bit too long. We were just like, oh god. You feel
Well, I
the
can stand
nerves
out on the
happening.
deck. Yeah, I
Where
can
you
stand
line
out
up.
on the deck until you come back.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's like the 4 lines of possible conversation that we're most likely to have, and then suddenly the door just like flashes open, and you can see Orthar. And it's in this moment that you realize just how big he really is, because as we've described, Canary are often, tall and quite big and strong a lot of the time.
Mhm.
But there's something about him, even just like that neck, that seems thicker than his head itself, and the really big old horns, and big broad shoulders, and he fills this doorway and then some, and he just
Genevieve is
casts
really
his
trying not
eyes.
to be distracted.
Right. So
Like, no, stop it, Genevieve.
and the eyes seem intense, emotional, looks the two of you over to see who it is that has come to the door, and then steps aside to let you both in. You can see that it is him. It is Rashala, who is the first mate, the tall, redhead, messy bum, big-horned mage. And you can see Bishop is in there too, who is looking quite pressed.
Is Bishop? Hold on, I have the thing pulled up.
Emo Canary.
Emo Canary. Okay,
Yeah,
but he's
struggled to
not
sleep.
still.
Loves the chat of like was Wax and Lyrical with Ellen with
Well, he's
Matthew,
not
putting the world to
a
right.
mage. Okay.
No, not a mage.
Yeah, okay.
So 2 very much not mages and 1 mage in the room currently.
And if you could remind me, just is he the one that was protective over, or Orthar was protective over, and like made
Yes.
him talk? Okay.
Yes. The vibes that Matty got is that it's very much, even though they're not blood related, this is father-son vibes. Yeah.
Could Genevieve pick that up in the room? Like, could I do a quick look over to see their relationship to each other?
Sure. I'll give you a general vibe check of the room if you give me a perception empathy roll.
Yeah, I can do. 15?
15, reasonable roll. Yeah. You currently, it just seems like there's a lot of stress in the room rather than there being particular dynamics. You have seen them enough, and you guys have spent, a day and a night here and into the second day, and I feel like you understand enough the connection between Bishop and Orthar. At the moment, I don't think they're necessarily acting of that. Perhaps as you come in the room, Orthar might have that slight body language that is, if you're feeling nuanced, could be perceived as being standing between you two, particularly the mage and him, but not in an overt, obvious way. The hardest look you're getting, I will say, given that we vibe check the room, is actually from Rashala.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, I apologize to interrupt. However, I find that these things are best to talk about as soon as possible. So,
It's Rashala that speaks up. You can see Arthur even actually opens his mouth like he's going to say something, and
Yeah.
she cuts right
I
in
knew
and
she
says,
would.
"Yeah, there's
Yep.
definitely some explaining that needs to happen. Come in and take a seat."
Are they sitting?
She is sort of like leaning on a table rather than sitting. Bishop is sat down on like a, in some homes you have like wood that's built in that could be a ledge, could be a stool, could be a seat off to the side, like against the wall. He's like sat on one of those, and Arthur is very much standing up.
I think it would be rude to sit if you're not sitting with me.
She is sitting. It's
Sorry,
Arthur that's
but
standing.
they're not at the
Yeah.
table. You know what I
No,
mean?
they're not at the table.
Yeah,
no.
and because she motions to the table.
Yeah.
I think I would feel more comfortable if my host.
I don't really care about your
That's why-
comfort. Sit down.
No.
And Arthur
I'm
just sort of
here
like
to
raises his hand slowly.
Yeah.
Okay, I will come and sit at the table with you if you will come and join.
Of course. You are my host and I will follow your lead.
Okay.
But I will remind you that I came here to be honest. First mate. As I have been before. And then we'll motion for Flora and myself to sit.
Mm-hmm.
Flora's gonna stay standing, just like right behind Genevieve's shoulder.
Okay. Just
Arthur's gonna go around and sit down on like it's very obviously his chair. It's the biggest. It kind of needs to be big, not because I'm captain, but because girth.
I just imagine the creaks. Like
yeah. It's a well-loved seat. But he will sit down.
So, I imagine you have questions. Please.
Well, I guess we can start with the most pressing of what the hell was that?
Oh, you mean protecting everyone and making sure we lived?
That's
That's what
that's
that
not,
is.
Yeah. I would appreciate if you do, as you said, coming in with honesty.
That was honest. We were not doing well, and there were many riders. Which, by the way, I will leave that question for later. I apologize. Please continue.
Okay. We're not going to be forthcoming. I understand. Okay.
Like about your protections of the boat and when you get raided, and how you protect the people that you were paid to protect. I guess
do
we
you
will not be
think
honest.
you can do to prepare for an ambush by raiders?
I don't know. I would imagine the people that live on the sea could answer that for me. All I know is that we were downstairs, doing what we were supposed to, staying out of your way. And then we had to come up and protect ourselves from dying and your crew. And I don't say that in a blaming way. I promise. But I'm wondering, division of responsibilities here.
Well, first of all, you didn't have to come upstairs. It was a choice to.
I don't like to die in a small room, just saying. But you're right. You're correct. We did make that choice.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not opposed to magic. Obviously, it is apparent to your group that we have mages aboard, but blood magic is something that is outlawed and is considered crossing a line. So when I asked you what was that, I had hoped for the honest answer of, well, it was blood magic.
Let me ask a quick question of you. Outlawed by who? Because if my memory serves correct, mages of the Qun are also outlawed, and I don't happen to see any scars on your mouth.
Oh, Flora, you feel like mages are particularly sensitive to emotional vibes.
Genevieve just lit a fire.
That
The fire was
you
already lit for the
feel
record.
the most intense burning rage at what was just said there.
Yeah.
And she is gonna stand up. She is gonna say something. Like, you know how someone will like swear or say something that you're in another language that you don't know, and you're like, I don't need to know what you just said because I can tell what you just said.
The attitude's there. Yeah.
Looks to Orthar and says something. Oh, just you feel that in your gut. You feel that, it's like when somebody pulls out like teacher voice and you feel yourself like instinctively going back to when you were at school, like, oh god, the emotional damage. And she walks out the room. And he was just gonna
I don't think Genevieve has recognized it. Not recognized, sorry. Given it a physical recognition.
uh-huh.
Suffice to say, I think, to be very honest, everyone on this ship has done something illegal. People are not illegal, though. And assholes that continue to make these laws do it because they're afraid.
And not willing to understand.
Here's the thing. The battle was ended very quickly before people could be lost, before your ship could be lost. I think it's important to consider magic is intent, regardless of what form it takes.
Here's the thing. I was willing to hear you out, to come to a reasonable conclusion about what happened, but I wasn't expecting you to come in and be hostile towards us and accuse us and turn things around on us. That was a strong move.
It was.
Not one I would have recommended. Typically, even other mages are particularly sensitive and upset when it comes to blood magic. It has a very, very dark history. One of you understands the darkest of histories. Some blood mages in certain countries will quite happily sacrifice thousands of slaves to get the blood they need for their magic to do awful things. There is a reason it is outlawed. It is not just because it's magic. It is not about it just being illegal. It crosses a line. It invites the most disturbing of demons towards you. There's a reason why people are so sensitive to it, and to brush that aside and act like someone is in the wrong for just wanting to know what the fuck that was that you did out on the deck of my ship. Unreasonable. Unreasonable. You should have come in here looking to explain yourselves.
I
Not
was.
to accuse.
I will admit that was very strong, and I played on what I thought would be a weakness. I apologize. And I doubt that she would hear me, but I will apologize to her as well. If she wants to hear it. Again, I doubt it. However, just saying what the fuck was that without recognizing the danger that we were in.
Yeah. So, and I need to figure out what to do about this.
Yes.
Because there are crewmates of mine who have been victim to magic like this, and I explaining to them why I'm okay with it being around when they have to probably be the ones cleaning up that gory mess is going to push my care and protectiveness for my crew to its limits. To expect that of them.
Understood. I will
Is
say, no, it is. Please.
Mm.
We also have people that have been unfortunate enough to be in a very similar situation as this. And I'm being honest. Don't have to believe me. And my friends and myself have already started to help with the crew. Or, sorry, with the mess upstairs. Now, you do not have to be comfortable. That's asking too much. Your crew does not have to be comfortable. That is asking too much. But we both have a bargain here. And that is all we ask.
Why should I?
You were paid. Now you don't have to. Like I said, you don't have to. We all make choices, obviously.
I feel like the cost for transporting people would have adjusted slightly if I knew that you were harboring a blood mage.
I imagine many things would have if we knew everything about each other. Like your two mages.
Don't be flippant.
I'm
Do
not
be
being flippant.
It.
How do you navigate such a conversation with people you do not know? Especially when, as your ship, you take on mini jobs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my
And
group as well.
I understand why you wouldn't necessarily be honest with that. My point being, you acting like we should be cool about this because we were paid.
I did not say this. I didn't. No, I acknowledge because, quite frankly, and very genuine face, I did not know either.
Captain,
Yes.
what would you do for your crew?
I'm reading correctly a lot.
And
she's gonna look at Bishop.
Yeah, Bishop looks like he wishes he had some magic so that he could quite literally just blend himself into the wall of the ship so that he could disappear. But he looks upset. You can see tears in his eyes.
You would do just about anything for them, I imagine.
Not just about. There is
Exactly.
nothing I would not do for them.
And this is my crew. There is not a lot I wouldn't do for them either. So what do you want to do with me?
I want to turn that over for a genuine answer. With the crew that I have, with what was just witnessed, And knowing that I have two people who have been victim to blood magic before, how I reconcile with them this situation. How I calm down my first mate who was just rather tersely reminded of what fate could have befallen her. How should I reconcile that?
If you want my head, take it. You
I'm
want to
not
lock me?
Absolutely not.
I'm not interested in that.
Take my staff. Leave me in my bare clothes. Lock me away.
Well, you don't need your staff.
Take everything else. I will stay bound up, chained, put a fucking gag on me.
I make a purpose of not chaining people. That's not going to help.
I'm saying do whatever it takes. I will. Whatever you need to do to make your crew feel safe. Fucking do it.
And you, Genevieve, how do you recommend I can reconcile with these kind of things?
I would think you know your crew best. And like I said, I would gladly apologize. Not that they might want to hear it. However, I would ask then, whatever you need to do for your crew, go do it. And then whatever you need from us, we are willing to do. Hear your people, clean your deck, stay away from them. Just let us know what you want and expect. Now that, unfortunately, we have known more about each other than we want.
I think I've taken advice to heart, and his head tilts a little. I'm not going to necessarily make you guys roll, particularly Genevieve, to know that he's not making it terribly visually obvious, but the head tilts in Bishop's direction. To hear you out, all of you, to let you explain, and to find common ground, because you deserve that. I will say it's going to prove a difficult task for some of them. Originally, it was only two of them I was worried about. But now, and he looks towards the door where Rochelle has stormed out. Bear in mind who you're speaking to. Bear in mind the experiences they likely have gone through in your explanation. But what I will request is that all of us, everyone aboard, come and sit. And we hear you all out. I want a proper explanation, not just, we save people. It's blood magic. There's lots of things illegal. I want an actual explanation for why. I don't need to hear it right now. But think that over. I will give you some time. I would request, please, that members of your crew are the ones that deal with that mess. Because I have people on my crew that I very pointedly don't want dealing with that. If any of them want to help you, they will. And you see like a shift, a slight like Bishop wants to raise his hand and then thinks better of it and just kind of sits there and sits on his hands.
Yeah.
That's their choice to help. Are those terms agreeable?
I will ask that a small amendment for a very similar reason that you gave. There are some of our crew that may opt out due to their background. However, there are many that would be very willing, like myself, to speak about it and speak plainly.
The cleaning up, I will argue, I don't mind. There may be people who don't want to, and that's fine, but I do want it being your people who are responsible. But the talking...
No, I meant the talking part. No, I mean about their past, who they are, that's fine. The mission, everything else, I will gladly tell you all of it.
That's fine, but I want everyone present.
That is okay. I think we can do this.
Okay. Give it a couple of hours so people can heal
Decompress.
and recover. Mm-hmm.
I will ask an actual question. Do not take it meanly. I don't mean it this way. What laws do you actually follow? Countries have varying views, varying things they hold dear. It is impossible to know if you will not share it.
When we dock in a country, we stick by the laws of that country. We don't want to invite any trouble, given the general makeup of this crew. If trouble is around, fingers would frequently be pointed at us, so we keep our noses clean. We don't break laws, aside from having
the ship is following Kirkwall at the moment?
Well, we're almost past Kirkwall, but free marcher law, sure. The things that we have that do not abide by current laws are apostates and harboring escaped slaves. But I don't think you will mind those two particular laws being breached.
No, neither you. So thank you. And I was genuine when I said I would apologize to her if she ever wants to hear it. But I will not ask.
I'd give it a minute. It's the red hair. She's fiery. It'll take a bit. I would worry for your safety if you were to confront her on that right now.
No. And what I mean is just, you know her best. Clearly, I do not. And if it helps when you speak to her, I have a brother that is in a way worse situation than she ever was.
I would not speak of whose situation is worse until you know the stories, but...
I only mean that I have a personal feeling about this. It wasn't all flippancy. But you're correct, I do not know her situation.
No. Maybe don't bring up the lip stitching in future.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go and make sure my crew are okay.
And we will start cleaning up.
One in particular I need to check on, so...
If it is the elf, he is very sweet. He's very kind. I just wanted to say that. He's very kind. He was kind to us.
Yeah. He is that. I am amazed he still has it in him after everything that he has been through. Because many of us have been through truly terrible, awful things. None are as bad as him.
Yeah.
And I can say that with certainty.
I do not doubt you. Also, you are a very good captain. We will take our leave.
Yeah. we'll see if I still hold that title after this.
I think you will be fine.
The talk will be good. It was good advice. And again, he tilts his head ever so slightly. Bishop's
we
shoulders
see-
shrink into himself.
Yeah, I was say, and I think Genevieve would just look at him as they're leaving. Just, I see we have found the planes of the ship. To Bishop.
Bishop looks a little startled that you're speaking to him, and then Arthur will correct you and say, "No, you found the heart of the ship."
Ah, yes, you're correct.
I mean, his brains are okay, and he'll ruffle Bishop's hair, who just does that. Oh god. Well, I will see you shortly. Let's give it a couple hours.
Yes, Captain.
If you speak to Betty, she can let you know where the supplies are that will assist in the deck swapping. At least we know there's plenty seabirds out there who will be glad of the...
See, we're just helping the ecosystem.
Yeah, ecosystem, sure. Okay, right. Be gone. And he'll kind of stand and usher the two of you out.
I think I'll look at Flora on the way out and just, so too much? I thought it was fun. Anyway. If you will go below deck and send out Cliffin and the ones with the strongest stomach, but take Ari below deck.
I don't think Hari's going to listen to me for a very long time.
No, but at least get him off the deck of the ship. Oh, and she'll take off her greaves and just hand him to the floor like, oh, I hate this part. I'll go find Betty.
Yep.
I mean, worst case scenario, I can have a whole bunch of my skeleton do it.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie. If it wouldn't freak everybody out, we could just make them clean up their own mess as they exploded and make their skeletons useful. Clearly.
Everyone's a little traumatized from blood magic, and you're like, you know what would help in this situation? Necromancy.
Hey, at least that one's not as illegal.
True, you're correct. You're absolutely correct.
Genevieve is definitely trying to get you to laugh a little bit. Just a little. Could you imagine the rattle on the top of the deck and they're like, oh my god, those are my guts. Like, you know. Oh, sorry. Oh, my maker. See, you can smile. Just little. It'll be fine. And she will go clean.
Yeah. So as the pair of you leave to either handle or to go have conversations, leaving the room, feeling that the fresh air that you've just stepped into almost like washes away the very so thick you could cut it with a knife tension that was in that room. We are going to go to break, everybody. Because we'll all need a little decompression after that. It was very emotional. And you should too. If you go and hydrate and get your stretchies in, we're going to just check that everyone's okay and do, good, healthy decompression. You can too.
Find something soft to cuddle.
Yes. We'll see you in 10 minutes, everybody. everybody. Welcome back. We have hydrated and decompressed. I hope that you have as well. Last session was mostly emotional damage and interesting conversations that definitely had some roller coasters of ups and downs there. We are now coming back to our scene as two of our crew, Flora and Genevieve, are stepping out onto the deck into the fresh sea air. The fog has lifted now. It's a pretty clear day, honestly, where things are looking a little difficult up here. You've got one who is just sitting there being best girl healer, just like, I'm here to help. If you need help, I'm here. I'm here to help. And currently everyone else is away dealing with things. There is a rather stressed and pressed looking Tevinter boy sat on a crate who is being guard dog for Matty, but how much guarding he's doing is unclear. We have the tall and small wife duo who are leaning up against the sort of railing at the side of the ship, just talking to one another, maybe speculating, maybe contemplating what's actually going on inside that room, that conversation. There were some heated voices in there, and they heard that. And that's kind of it for the deck of the ship. Most people seem to be either below deck or elsewhere. How did the two of you approach? You have two crew members that are still up here. The rest of your lot are all downstairs. What do we do, everybody?
Wait, I said that we
Yes.
I just feel like I would probably have said something to Harry at some point. I would have
I
just sat
agree.
here in stony
I agree.
silence.
You know, you
Like,
if you feel that, yeah, he's not gonna
Empress,
offer up conversation,
really,
but
yeah, but I just feel like me just being like, you're really visibly stressed and upset, sitting
Yeah.
5 feet in front of me, and I am just gonna sit here in silence with you for 45
Yeah.
minutes whilst we wait for everyone to come back.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like the best solution to that problem.
Yeah.
So just
you recognize many a symptom of things, especially when you're in spirit healer mode and your vibes are going out to like heal everyone else's, and all you're getting is just ping, 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 ping of people not happy right now, and definitely needing some kind of healing, even if it's just like therapeutic talks. And there is one rather glaring one next to you, still sporting some injuries, I must say. He was up there fighting too, but the thing that is creating the most tension, if you imagine you could kind of see a heat map of where the stress is, there's an awful lot of it in those balled up little fists of his. He is not going to invite a conversation from you, but I imagine that's not going to stop you.
No. I mean, I've met some mages. Just yeah, like I'll sort of look at him across the deck and just be like, sorry, just to check, does Harry use they them or he him?
He him.
Cool. I'll look at him across the deck and say, so is this like a suffering in silence situation, cool scars, or do you want me to actually fix any of that?
Takes him a moment. Says to collect himself before answering that. I wasn't sure how much energy you would have left after that fight. I'm not gonna presume.
Like, I'm pretty. I live in this like weird situation where so obviously most mages, clearly our life's purpose is to sort of doom the entire world to like sin. But I happily was born in a situation where like pretty much my entire existence is just to like make people feel better. That's my whole fucking job. And first of all, I don't think that you should be near the mess. I can deal with that, but it takes a very specific temperament to deal with that kind of shit, and you don't need to look at it if you don't want to. Especially not if it's reminding you of bad shit that you've seen before. Second, you're part of my crew. Like, I'm gonna I would fix you even if I didn't have the energy, and I do. We've got lyrium potions probably at some point, and we're about to rob a fuck ton. And at the worst, I'm going to give myself a migraine, which isn't great, but ultimately I can deal with.
There's a moment where you do the like, plus you're part of my crew comment where like the strain that he's carrying in his expression shifts a little. The eyebrows soften a bit. Okay. If you have anyone offer, that would be good. I kind of have to be here though. I was given some instructions to do it. So I'm gonna do it.
Was this floor or the Elysian?
The Elysian.
Right, yeah, okay, cool. Alright, how about maybe we both come to the side of the deck here, away from the puddles, and you let me deal with this. The light's better over here. That is completely a lie. Not remotely true.
He's not gonna question the lie. He's like, you know what? All right, okay, let's do this. Okay, yeah, he'll move over with you, and will eventually. It almost like takes effort, interestingly, for him to like completely turn himself away from everything on the deck, but will look out, in the direction of the sea once he is with you.
Cool. Gem question: should I roll a heal, or are we just putting this on roleplay?
Just put this on roleplay. It's fine. It's an easy spell. This is what you do. It's fine.
It is a very specific thing that I do a lot. It was just in case you needed numbers. Okay, cool. Then I think as Maddie starts kind of dealing with things, I mean, I think she kind of always starts with essentially a triage of like getting Hope to help her like in the emotional way, but like literally more in a medical way of being like, okay, where is the most severe injury? Like,
I will say, what I'll ask from you is either some flavor of perception. If you have a focus you feel applies to that, let me know. Otherwise, there is a healing focus
I
that
have
people
a
can take.
cunning and a healing focus.
Yes, so you can roll that because it's essentially like a medical check. This is not for the casting of healing. This is for noticing things.
Yeah,
14 is a good roll. You go in to like heal the wounds that he has, do this sort of instinctual going for things that are worse, trying to look for anything else that seems like it might need mending. You will notice something that not everyone sees, because this is not a fella who, when it is hot weather, does what we Scots like to colloquially call taps off weather. In any way, you very rarely see any skin from this boy. There are many an old scar on this guy. Quite a lot of them.
So like as Maddie does her shit, she's gonna talk a bit more than she normally does, especially with the patient who she doesn't actually think particularly wants her to talk, but she's gonna do it anyway. And she's going to start with, okay, so first up, and I really hate to grant her any credit, but there's a possibility that a mutual friend of ours might be right, that I am not as emotionally forthcoming as I could be. I guess the way that she would say it is, oh, come on, you have to be nice sometimes, or else no one would know that you're our best friend.
I get the laugh out of him. He will laugh at
that. But I think you are a remarkable man. I truly think that you are one of the most interesting and inspiring people I've ever met. I also just generally don't really subscribe to the whole idea of like strength, and at this point she's kind of like lifting up his arm and like going under his armpit to like get to a particularly like you know bit of a cut, like you know, I mean, you kind of like deal with enough biceps and you kind of everyone sort of cries like a baby when you pluck a hair out their eyebrow. It's just kind of like strength is relative, you know. Also, if you, and she kind of drops the arm, if you stay in a bad place long enough, and let's say hypothetically you work as the nurse in that bad place, so you see all of the injuries coming through, and you hear every single lie for where the injuries came from and how someone ended up the way they did. You get a real nuanced idea of what strength is supposed to be. I think you are actually very strong. And I think this, and Maddie kind of nods at the mess behind him on the deck, is not the kind of shit you signed up for or the shit that you deserve to be dealing with. And
Yeah, it's not what I was expecting to see today.
Me neither.
Despite everything I have seen and experienced, I still believe in the cause of our group. And I understand the strength it takes to be a mage in this world. Outside of my country, they are a different breed of mage. It's just difficult because that magic is usually done by the sorts of mages I grew up around. And I haven't encountered it being used in any other way before. So I don't know how to slot all of that in together.
One of the hardest things that I ever learned, and I think at this point Maddie is finished kind of like essentially patting him down and clearing up the bruises as she goes. And just
There's a couple spots in his body that maybe don't have active current injuries right now that he will flinch if your hand goes near them.
She will move very carefully around them and try not to really touch anything that he doesn't want her to touch. My cat is making the weirdest sounds and it's great. Sorry. She will go from the injuries, lean on the side of the deck and just say, one of the hardest things I've ever had to learn is that being part of a group that is treated with violence does not make you a good person. And that sucks. It makes everything so much more complicated. It would be so easy if just being an elf meant that someone would never ever do anything bad. Or being a mage, or being, I'm sorry, I don't know the whole, like, tier structure class system thing that y'all have, but, like, you know, being a soprano or whatever, like...
Yeah.
But the reality is anyone can do anything. A mage can be awful and do horrible things. And so can an elf. And also, socially, they will experience horrible things. And also, the state and the church and the Templars and everyone else will treat them like shit from the day they're born till the day they die. And still, no matter how much we empathize with that suffering, no matter how much rage we feel at the injustice of it, they can just be bad people. Being subject to oppression does not make one immune to committing atrocities, moral atrocities, criminal atrocities. And life would be a lot simpler if that was not true. If there were victims and perpetrators and villains and heroes, and everyone fell neatly into a flock of sheep or goats. But that's just not true.
How do you feel about that? And he's just going to indicate behind him to the deck.
Weird, really weird. I did not know that that was a thing that anyone of us could do, and I did actually grow up in a circle, so I mean, if I was 8 years old, I would have jumped off the ship screaming. If I was 16, I would have jumped off the ship screaming, not to die necessarily, just to get away. Now I'm trying very hard not to judge. I'm thinking a lot about how hard it's going to be to get the blood smell out of the wood, and it's been soaking for a while, which bothers me.
There's some things you can use to get rid of blood, but I don't know how much of that we have here.
Yeah, no, see, that's my thing. I've dealt with plenty of bloody floor, but it's just, I don't know what kind of cleaning supplies we're working with. We're several days from land. I don't want to have to walk past, like, kind of rotten blood-smelling wood planks every day. This ship smells bad enough as it is. I mean, I know they do their best, but still, like, it's salt, fish, etc.
I think the quicker we deal with it, the better. The longer you leave it, it's going to set in.
I agree. I also think that I don't want you to deal with it. Thank you. You can stay nearby. God knows, an all legion scorned, etc. But well, make a nose even. But I was lucky. I don't have as many scars as you do. And that's not only because I can do this, and she kind of wipes a bruise off the back of her hand with her thumb. And I don't think that you need to be standing ankle deep in blood again, unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's one thing I know about circle mages, not all scars are the visible ones, but I appreciate the comment. I will go below deck and make myself useful. Eventually, I'll wait for them to come out.
I would love it if you could get me some buckets of water.
Okay, I can do that, he'll say, as he sort of like steps back, and that will be about the time that Flora and Genevieve will come out. And I will turn over to the decision from the two of you about how you're going to handle, who you're going to speak to, how you're going to draw your group's attention, what you're going to do with what you've just experienced and learned.
First thing, we'll go to Betty, as instructed. So, some of us, most of us, will be helping clean this up.
She's gonna like turn around and like stand up and do that thing of like acting like I definitely wasn't saying anything. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. What? Hi. Hello.
It is okay. Your captain, I believe, wants to have words with all of you. However, first, I need help finding supplies to clean this ship.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can do that. Yep, I'll do that. Okay. She'll just like pat her wife's shoulder.
And after she is showed and everything, that's when she'll say, so first, I need to talk to my people. And then I will be back up to do this with some, strong backs. And we'll figure this out.
Okay.
Are you feeling better?
I'm good, yeah. Good. Golden. I'm fine.
Then you should find your captain.
tougher than a few raiders. And she'll like unintentionally, not meaning to, do like a little flex as she heads away.
Like, she won't touch her arm or anything because of the wife,
Yeah.
but like, oh,
Mhm.
you're clearly very strong.
Yeah, they breed us strong up in the mountains.
I'm sure they do.
Had to deal with more than a fair few bloody messes as well, so I'm happy to lend a hand to at least scooping the bits off into the water. So,
Oh, if you don't mind, I would take it, but you do not have to.
I don't mind. I think it'd be quite fun to like throw them, see how far I can throw them, and see if like the birds go
Right,
after the
and
things
see
that
how
get
many
going.
birds we can
Yeah.
get to.
Yeah.
Pile of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll take care of that part. All right, I'm
Well-
Debs in that. So if anyone else says that they're going to be doing that bit, they're not, because that's my job. I'm
No,
just
no.
gonna
I
turn
think
around
you and I are competing for it.
Okay.
See how far we can go. Go.
I see you, little Arlesia. We'll see how you do. And she'll
I
like
do like a
finger
gamble.
gun as she hits away.
I think she'll look at the wife and just be like, "Not what I meant."
Yeah.
But yes. And then go to Maddie and Hari.
Yeah.
So there is good news and there is bad news.
What did you
Which
do?
one would you? Oh, me! I was a perfect angel. Now they're more mad at me than they are at you. Be happy. We'll be happy later. All right. So here's the thing: we need to go to see everyone, and they have made requests of us. So I feel like we should talk first.
Okay. We also need to clean up this deck, but I need Harry to get me some supplies.
I had supplies. I talked to Betty. They're very strong one over there. And I figure me, Griffin, some of the people that can stomach it, and you may do this. That is part of the quest, actually. We have to do this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Harry is going to look to you, Flora, while this conversation is happening, and say quiet enough that it's not like he's necessarily directing it at everyone, but it's not so quiet that it's like he's trying to whisper to not be heard. Did you take the fall for him?
Not as many words, but they don't seem interested in having just one person at fault either.
Suppose that tracks. Are you okay?
I think at this point, Floor, like the magic has like dropped, and Floor just looks their age, which is like early 20s, and they're pale and they're covered in blood, and most of it is theirs at least. I don't know exactly how to answer that, but I will be as well as I need to get through the rest of this today.
Fair enough.
What about you?
I can't imagine I'm going to have restful sleep tonight, but I'm doing much better thanks to Maddie's healing.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, you at least won't dream of demons.
Oh, I dream about demons plenty. It's just not actual demons, at least.
At least it's not actual demons.
Right.
They really fuck up sleep.
Yeah. I'm going to go and get Matty some buckets of water. Make myself useful.
You need help?
Sure. If your noodle arms can take it, and he's gonna like bump his shoulder against yours.
Maybe I'm just accompanying you for the glorious conversation.
Yeah. I am capable of it sometimes, you know. He'll like mutter under his breath as he just wanders off to go and find some buckets. Okay. If we are collecting and generally having a conversation, are you going to have a conversation with everyone to make sure everyone's clear on what's going on before the cleaning? And if so, are you
Yes.
going below deck to find Aviana to maybe do it down there?
That was at least my intention.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, buddy, we'll be back. Don't start without me, unless you want to. But yeah, that was the intention, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So eventually you all can kind of go and congregate in the area. Everyone here at the table, also your NPCs, are gathered in a space to have this conversation together.
So once we're all gathered, Genevieve first just looks at Aviana and just, if you were anyone else, I would hit you. And she's gonna hug her.
I think there's just this moment of like where you like freeze up at the touch, and then she'll just kind of quietly hug back. But it's so incredibly restrained.
And then it's like that hug that's tight, but it's not gonna hurt. You know what I mean? Like, and just kind of grabs your ponytail and runs through it a couple times and just, so we've made moves. I have made moves, but the captain has requested all of us. I will say, they are more mad at me than they are at you at this current moment.
Oh no.
So, he's fine. It was
No,
on
they're
purpose.
still plenty mad at us, Genevieve.
Oh yes, but let me put it this way: the ones
like-
that would be the most dangerous is more focused on me than y'all. This is the hope.
Look, I can. I think there's a moment where she just kind of takes a deep breath and just says, I don't want anyone else paying for what I've done.
Oh. As much as I would like to tell you that won't happen, I will be honest. We already are.
Right. Okay.
But it is okay. Let me convey what the captain has said, and then we'll have a battle plan. Okay? So, we will clean up the mess. Me, Griffin, if you will. Anyone else that wishes to volunteer?
I will.
Okay. Come up deck with me afterwards. Here's the part that is not so good. They want to know about us and what we are doing. Now, I would never tell you what to say about yourselves, but I think we can all share with the captain that there are some things that we would protect each other and not reveal. And that is fine. Let me put it this way, I've argued for this. Now, for the mission's sake, I think we should tell them. I was planning to.
What were the exact words?
You expect me to remember this? No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I will tell her everything. Everything that the captain said.
Can you tell her about the other two?
The other two?
About Rashala and also Bishop and just their general
Oh, yes.
vibes and input into the conversation.
Yes, and that's kind of what she was trying to convey about getting... Let me say this. Rashala, the first mate, I admit, if I read correctly, is a bit more dangerous than the captain. And tends to hide behind the captain, but be the more decisive. And then Bishop was there, who was very kind and a bit more empathetic. So,
Did
this is
they
what I
want
mean.
to know why?
The only why they need to know is that when people are desperate to keep their people alive.
But I know you guys will probably disagree with this. It's only fair for them to know.
I'm agreeing with Aviana and Floor. I sincerely do not mean this against you specifically. I think that you have and I will only say this once, a significantly more mature understanding of the impact of your context than many of your fellow citizens. We know that there is an elf on board this ship who is terrified of mages from Tevinter, who is miserable and full of anxiety. I don't think any of us needs to make massive leaps of logic to imagine why that particular elf might be very frightened if a human mage suddenly started doing blood magic with no warning destructively. I also do not think it's unreasonable that anyone who cared about that elf would want to know what the hell was going on. If it was me, I would be burning doors down because that kid is not going to feel safe. And any mage that doesn't feel safe is a potential hazard to themselves and everyone around them.
I only want to stir this out. Do what you want. Say what you want. It is your story to tell. However, I do not think that they are entitled to know everything about you. It is a business deal, first and foremost. And I refuse to be apologetic in totality to this.
It's their lives.
It is our lives too. Period. We have to
didn't-
protect ourselves.
They didn't ask for a blood mage to be on board. They didn't ask for all of their traumas to be brought to the surface.
I agree. But they are not the only ones with traumas. We have to have a level of trust and understanding. And that begins with the business. And trust me, I understand. I do. Trust. That's why I say I would hit you if it was not you. It's hard to negotiate when you don't know what you're negotiating. However, it is a negotiation. I only ask that you not be floor mats in this case.
I think Jen is right. I really think that the important thing that we need to do here, do use her name on purpose for once, but I do think that the important thing we need to do here is not share our life stories, but just give them some kind of reason to believe that we are not going to hurt them, that we are not going to use their blood to hurt them or control them or invade their consent, that we are not going to overwhelm them or attack them. What they need right now, Aviana, is context. I personally would also love some context, but we can kind of shelve that conversation till we're off the boat and you and I can have a conversation later. For now, I hope and believe I know you well enough to know that you would not use someone else's body without their consent in any way.
No.
Or their mind.
Never.
You have to convince them that.
I know.
You don't have to tell them everything, but you do have to convince them that.
And she's gonna look at Fleur like, that may not be necessary. However, character is necessary, and I agree with Matty. I think that is the important part. Now, I will let you think about how you wish to do this. Like I said, they're already not too happy with me, but it turns the tides in my favor in that moment.
I understand. I think she's going to kind of look down And I feel like at this point, all of the adrenaline has faded, and she's realized just how hurt she was from that fight. As she kind of like touches her clothes, and it's her blood still coming out. I may need some.
Matty rushes over and starts healing. Do you? How many hit points are you down? Do you need a proper heal?
I'm at 19 of 46.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, cool. I will give you a proper heal. Hang on a second.
Minor NPC interaction here. The other hand, not the one that just dealt with the blood and the whole freaking out thing. Your other hand is taken by Reagan.
She's probably grasped it like an iron grip of like the anchor keeping her like brave at this point of like thank you in a way.
That is. Oh no! Roll 20. Don't do this to me. There we go. Oh God, that was not intentional. That was only supposed to be once. That is 15 plus 8 is 23 plus 3 is 26 points of healing for you. For GM context, I spent some of the 6 stunt points that I got on Mighty Spell as previously discussed to roll.
You could, with 6, you could use lethal spell, which is 2d6. So feel free to add on that too, because that's 2d6. Because it costs 5 for that one. So
Fantastic.
One more point, and I'm at full. So
okay, you're taking 2, so you're up to
I'll do a big heal.
Yeah,
Healing.
big heals.
So Flo has already intimated that they are the ones that, play to people's perceptions, right? No.
Reduces the amount of targets we have on us. It's rather there be a Tevinter mage and a blood mage and an Orlesian that has pissed off the second most powerful person on the ship.
It just makes us untrustworthy. I should have just gone up there and
Aviana, it doesn't make us untrustworthy. It protects you.
And quite frankly, I don't like hypocrisy. I know that sounds strange coming from me, just it's true. Them, you broke the law, everything is bad. When literally every one of them breaks the law every day by just existing.
Also, let's just put it out there. It would be more untrustworthy for us to find, or for them to find, an honest Orlesian and a Tevinter mage who didn't use blood magic than it would be to find a Tevinter mage who did use blood magic and a dishonest Orlesian. So, I mean, we're playing into stereotypes, but in a lot of ways, they have more reason to believe that we're telling the truth now because we're doing exactly what they expect us to do. That said, the Orlesian does piss everyone off. Floor? At some point, standing still whilst everyone shoots arrows at you is going to make you bleed out.
This is not me standing still, Maddie. This is me protecting Aviana. Because I have been in a very similar position and I have let someone I cared about tremendously get taken because of my inaction.
I have to say I agree with Flo. I did not stop her.
I want to be clear, that was not a criticism. It was an expression of concern. Flo, you and I might not always see eye to eye, but you deserve compassion and rest as much as anyone else does. Still, I respect the instinct, and I can't say I would do differently. Thank you. And I hope one day you're in a position where you aren't forced to take every knife blow as it falls. Everything's going to be fine. We're not far from shore. Aviana, Floor, I believe I have broadly dealt with your injuries, but I am not above waking you both in the middle of the night to scream at you if you do not tell me if there are any issues or complications. That means if you tear your stitches, if you notice swelling, if there is any redness, yellow pus, anything at all, really, you are going to tell me immediately. Am I understood? I need a verbal confirmation, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Floor?
Depending on how tonight goes, I might need you to help with other things. So
Fleur, if you don't do it, she won't stop.
I really won't.
Worst comes to worst, I'll take care of it myself.
I think you are better than me, at every school of magic known to Thedas, with the possible exception of this one. Please just let me do what I'm good at. And save your own resources for protecting the people that you want to protect.
I'll consider it, and that's as good as you're getting.
It's fair enough.
Now, I will say, I think we should be strategy-wise, be as honest as we can about what we're doing as the chain of revenge and representing our faction. And only maybe offer information about your character, and that is it. But obviously, you interpret that as you want. But you are not obligated to answer all their questions.
I understand.
And we can ask questions ourselves. So admittedly, maybe you're not me. It will be fine.
It will, hopefully. Let's see, shall we? A bit of time will pass. Those who wish to go up and help with the deck cleaning can do so. When you guys eventually go to the task, it seems that Betty is getting a head start at throwing things into the sea.
You were supposed to wait for me.
I'm practicing. I'm just getting it. Listen, I'm just,
Those don't count.
You were taking your time, or Legion.
You had more time than me. I had other things I had to do. I'm sorry. Like take a shovel, just
Yeah. You're perhaps using more of a dex. So you're a rogue, so you're trying to get precision in.
It's
She's
momentum.
doing like shot put, like.
Yeah, it's like a momentum centrifugal.
Yeah. So eventually, through various means, using various talents, the deck will be getting as clean as it's going to be. Hopefully, the salty seawater will at least play its part eventually.
Aviana will help clean as well.
Okay. Yeah, noted. Both of your guards, shall we say, who have been very protective and sort of lingering with you, go up, and they're both also helping out as best they can. Hi, Raiders, how's it going? You came just in time for cleaning a deck with grisly innards. Yay. And you're here just in time for some tense emotional emotions, as eventually the deck will become clean, and you are all able to then come together. It seems that a couple of the crew who were perhaps making a point of not being the ones helping the deck have set out various things for people to sit on. It very much has like a two almost semicircle facing each other so that people can sit, but there is an option for distance for those who may feel that they want a little bit of physical distance from people, yourselves included, should you need. And eventually the crew will come together. You see that Rodala, the Canary quartermaster with the white hair, is there at first, will exchange a couple words with the captain, and then goes below deck, and eventually the last to join the party, if you will. She has brought the elf mage up with her. Cloak is very much on and up, and will sit kind of to the side, but very much still with their crew. And she takes a taller barrel to sit behind him and just has her arms like over his shoulders and like over his chest as well, given the the little protective squeeze. to have a sort of physical barrier should he feel he needs it. But you are all up, and the captain, Arthur, will stand and kind of take a couple steps towards you all and cast eyes at you and then back towards his crew. All right. I thank you, everyone, for coming together. I feel like this conversation is important. In matters like this, lines of communication should be open. I do not want things to be kept in shadows, because in shadows, dark things can lurk. So, I'm going to open to you all first. I think my crew would like an explanation for what happened today. And he's going to go and sit back down.
Just going to slip in that I'm going to be sitting in the middle of the room, projecting as much calming energy as possible. Just like
everyone's like, why does it smell like elf root and aloe in here? I don't understand, but it's calming.
Oh, chill. You want to chill.
Yeah.
Eviana will kind of stand up and go over where it's needed, where people are speaking. Hi. I first want to say I'm so sorry. I know none of the words I say can take away the hurt of what people felt today. It won't matter if I say that I was afraid for my life, because so were you. I was. I've never cast that particular spell before. I've only harmed with blood magic twice in my life. First was when my family was attacked by Darkspawn in Denerim. And the second was when my new family was attacked today. I don't use this magic like other people do. My body doesn't function properly. The fact I'm standing here today was a miracle when I was a child. We sought after anything that could make me be like my siblings. But the fact of the matter is, if I took a step, I would crumble. And then a relative passed back when I found out I had magic. An ancestor came to me and showed me a way for me to not just exist, but to live. I can walk now, I can run, I can climb a tree. All of that was a dream without this. I only use it to repair my body because it can't do it for itself. And while that's important to me, this is your home, and no one should feel unsafe in their home. We have healers on hand, and if it would make people more comfortable, I can hold off on that side of myself until we're safely away from here. This is your haven. And I would never want to bring dark clouds and anything where someone needs to feel safe. Like I said, nothing that I say, I don't think it can change what people can feel. I can only give you info. And what you guys decide to do with it, it's not up to me. It's up to you. I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't touch it. It took me years to even feel confident to try it. And most people use blood magic for their personal gain to take away from another. I only use it to make me me.
You will see that the other crew give each other looks, various emotions across the different faces at what is being said. And Orthar, the captain, seems to be aware of them around him. It helps that they're sat in the position that they are. He can see them reacting. And he looks to your crew, particularly Genevieve and Fleur, and then to you again. And he's going to stand and start walking towards you. And it's a little imposing because he is so big and his energy is big.
I think Aviana would, or Genevieve would start kind of getting up a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I kind of put my hand to the side and I'm standing up strong. Just like, no.
And he's going to come right up to you and look down at you. And the height difference is very much felt in this moment. As tall as you are standing, he's imposing. And his expression is a little unreadable at first. Thank you for your honesty. And he's going to extend a big hand towards you. There's nothing in this world that I appreciate more than respect and honesty, and I could see you were offering both.
I take his hand and I just say, I'm so sorry. They want to protect me, and I can protect myself, but when family's in trouble, kind of give a nod.
He'll nod his head. Closing ranks. I know what it looks like. Going forward, and he'll say this to address all of you, including his crew. I appreciate honesty in all of its forms, even when it's ugly, even if it hurts, even if it's dangerous. It takes a level of strength to be honest with yourself as well at times. I understand that what you're having to be honest with currently may be a difficult burden on your shoulders. You are right. What happened today has been challenging for many here on this deck, on both sides of the circle. But the challenges that your kind have to deal with, one has to be open and honest with your own heart to know what is in its depth, especially with the things that you have to battle. to not do that leaves festering wounds. I accept your words, the confession that it came with, and the apology. And we will hear no more of this. And he looks slightly over his shoulder just to direct his words at his people too. I am still happy to bring you to your destination. Because there's one thing I've always been able to see, and it's a good soul. The reason I have the crew that I have is because other people can look at someone to know where they're from, what they can do, things they may have done in their past, and make judgments on it. To act rashly, to act with fear or fury. But I know a good soul when I see one. And your new family here, regardless of what is done or has been said, they have good souls. As do you. Well, if we can all agree to be mindful of who we need to be mindful of, and gentle with those who deserve a little grace. I think we can put a line under that. Do any of the rest of you have anything to say?
Oh, I'm possessed.
Genevieve straight Maddie on the shoulder. Just
Okay. Yeah. There's a murmur of reaction from people.
Maddie smiles at Betty and says, I'm pretty sure this is not uncommon among your people. It's how I'm able to heal the way I do. There's a finite amount of resource that mages normally have. You'll be aware of that. It's why the lyrium trade exists. I work with the spirit realm. So if you ever feel a sense of warmth or relaxation, that's Hope. They're a friend of mine. They just make it easier for me to keep you all alive.
Yeah, honestly, like, Lowlanders have a really weird view about it. Like, I understand why, because, you know, demons are like, yeah. Like, oof, that's a lot. But, I have encountered the good kind, yeah, while I was still there.
Yeah, it's not uncommon among your mages, right? I think it's kind of like what is it, like a trial of adulthood. You live with a spirit for a bit and then you get rid of them.
They train you. Yeah. They're like educating you in the ways of like all things spirit. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. So Hope.
I don't know anything about it because like I have zero
with
magic,
respect,
but
you are clearly not a magic user. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's like kind of like an inverse relationship between how much magic you have and how much muscle you can have. And I mean, I have eyes.
Flexes and looks at the crew, and they've seen it too often. They're just like, oh my god. Yeah, you're not wrong. My spells are I'd like to cast Fist. It's great. I mean, it's effective.
I think like Maddie actually laughs at that. Like Maddie genuinely, it's just she's normally so stony, but just like that is so dumb that even she is just like.
And there's a moment that actually it cuts whatever tension had been building, and the spike of worry that some of the people in the other crew maybe felt at that confession. Like quite a few of them also start laughing because it's just so ridiculous that it's like.
Maddie looks at the dwarf and is like, "And you married her?" Like,
I'm well aware of how muscular she is.
Yeah, I was more referring to the wit, but you know what?
She looks up wit. Yeah, there's a direct correlation between like how much
Yeah,
wit you have and how much muscle. Yeah.
I'm getting that. I understand if this means anyone is uncomfortable, and I am a competent healer without magic. I'm very happy to treat you without magic. That's fine. But I have no intention of making any of you feel uncomfortable. If you want to meet Hope, I'm sure that they would be happy to meet you. Generally, don't introduce them to large crowds of people because I never know how a group of mixed people would feel. But you're welcome to request an interaction with them. I find them painfully saccharine, but you might enjoy their optimism.
Rodala, the white-haired Kunari, speaks up and says, "You know, some of us here have had interactions with spirits that were not negative. Company in lonely dark spaces, I suppose. So not averse to it and appreciate the honesty." And you see her arms tighten a little, and you know it's not her that she's talking about. Arthur just stands up and does the dad like hand clapping. We all know that. Well, thank you for your honesty. We are not opposed to the less than usual approaches to magic and experiences had, given our own crew makeup and life experience. So again, your honesty is appreciated. I think I have an order for all of you, my crew especially, because you all have to do what I tell you to do. And he holds up a finger. The rest of you, it is merely a suggestion. I am not your captain, but I heavily recommend we all need a drink. So can we go get the kegs, please? And he looks over, and Betty's already like, I am on it. Let's go. And goes to get out some kegs for everyone. And you're all given the opportunity to have a drink, a decompression, and a little bit of recovery. There's a little breakup of crowds. Some of the crew actually come over to speak to you guys. They seem open to having that communication and smoothing things back to the positive interactions that had happened before today.
I think Jen, just for a very small moment, will go to Maddie. Okay, that was not what I meant. And I said what I said. However, I just want to say, good job. From what I said long before.
I think Maddie, like, maybe has already, as soon as there was drink available, got a drink. And just kind of will give Genevieve kind of a cockeyed grin, and say, I think that's the first time you've given me a compliment.
It's the first time you deserved it.
Careful, Legion, I'm going to start thinking you're going soft.
Not for anyone around here. But, yes, you actually gave a part of yourself and gained trust. And you did not explode, so I was going to, laugh if you did. But, good job. How does it feel?
I like these people.
So good. All right, now keep drinking and be nicer. That's all she wanted to say.
Mm-hmm. Spectacular. All right. Well, we are at the end of our session, end of our evening. Drinking and merriment needed from many. A couple don't drink. Notably, Harry doesn't touch any.
I actually will throw in there Jen doesn't either. Shockingly enough.
Yeah. Our small elf does not. However, is staying on deck, which is kind of the first time that you've seen him up and still in the crowd. Sticks with Rodala, but is not touching the booze. But merriment is had, and those of you who wish to decompress are given the opportunity to do so. So the tension gone, we will end our session there, and we will see how things go for the remainder of your journey and the arrival to Party Town. Welcome, and see what's going on there.
All party. No heartbreak.
All the time. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be all great and wonderful. We are going to do our outros. I would like you guys to say who you are, who you've been playing, and where we can find you. I can start with myself. I am Emma or Hamalu on the internet. You can find me on all the socials under that, and also on Linktree as well, which I think is the link that has been going about in Discord chat. You can see me here again tomorrow for Ariga Stars. It's so exciting. Last week was the date night, and it was so God. So gay. It is beautiful, and it is anime magic thems, and I just adore it. So be sure to come for that. And on Tuesday, you can see me on the transmissions running another Dragon Age game called Blood and Lyrium, which is just regular old villagers from Lothering dealing with the blight. So it's a very different time and vibe from this game. And you can also hear me on Tuesdays. We air our episodes of Black Teeth, which is our liminal podcast, which is a folk horror game set in rural Wales, and it's great. It's wonderful. I've been told that I giggle a lot in it, so apparently that's just what the character's into. But that's me, and then you'll see me here again this time next week for another episode of this. Now it's over to you guys.
Hello, everyone. I am Torin, or Torin Talks Creativity on the internet. As far as where you can find me, I am here, of course, and then on Mondays and also Fridays, I am here as well in different games. And then I'm also a player on the Tuesday game for Blood and Lyrium, which has been very fun and definitely different.
You're just a stinky little gal in that one.
No, I'm just a stinky little rat. It's fine. Otherwise, I do have my own channel, Torn Talks Creativity, and in this week, in fact, we are doing charity streams for Jack.org and Champion of Mental Health. So we'll be there Wednesday and Saturday, and there's an entire team that I'm working with. So if you would like information, you can go there. But it's been lovely. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I forget. I'm used to there's someone being between me and Torin. Hi, my name is Alice. They, them pronouns. Today I was playing Flor Aeneas. You can find me everywhere online at Alice Hart, or if the adult film star has stolen that username on yet another platform, you can usually find me at Hellion Hart. The rest of April, it's going to be pretty quiet for me. You'll see me here on Sundays. I've got a lot of stuff coming up in May, though, and in the future that I am not allowed to talk about yet. But if you want to see me in something, I do produce, edit, and play on the actual play podcast, Welcome to Reddington. It's a Monster of the Week podcast. We are currently on a little bit of a hiatus because life, but it is a great time to get caught up on all of the episodes we have out so far as we get ready for the end of season 1.
Hi, everybody. I am Mary. My pronouns are she, her. I've been playing Aviana. Her pronouns are she, her. As far as where you can find me online on the Hell site at Nerd on Wheels 15 or everywhere else at the Nerd on Wheels. Coming up for me, every other Monday, you can catch me on Lost Caravan RPG for Lancer Hell's Gate, a Lancer RPG series where we've got a bunch of messed up people just trying to survive now in Space Las Vegas, and my character almost died. So we're investigating who tried to do that. It'll be a fun run on that, and then every other Wednesday you can catch me on Enchanting Sorcery Productions for Fandelver and below Holly's Harriers. I am playing a rogue cleric that just found out who their deity is and has memory issues. So that's been fun. And then on April 30th, you can find me on Lost Caravan RPG for a one shot of Outgunned, a spy movie RPG. It's sure to be a blast. That's what I've got.
All of y'all are doing such cool stuff. I'm Ella. My pronouns are she, her. I was playing Maddie. Her pronouns are she, her. You can find me at GEJWatts on all social media platforms. If you want to check out my work, I make an audio drama podcast called Camlan. It is a post-apocalyptic queer series inspired by folklore and Arthurian legends. The penultimate episode comes out tomorrow. So we're really close to the end of the series. It's just a 9-episode series. Many twists are being had. Outside of that, I will be running a series on this channel on Girls Run These Worlds called Rust, which is a kind of post-apocalyptic adventure playing with the legacy Life Among the Ruins system, which I'm really excited about. So that is coming up soon. And I guess as a final thing, if you want to check out my work, it's Dracula season. I helped to direct a podcast called Re-Dracula, which is a chronological telling of Dracula, where basically you get a little, like, it's a full cast thing where you essentially get an audiobook, and on the date that things happen in the novel Dracula, you'll get a little episode of a podcast. So, like, if Van Helsing sends a telegram on the 5th of June, your podcast has a 1-minute long audio of Van Helsing being like, quick, go to this place and find something else about Dracula. It's fun, it's cute, and we're currently re-releasing from the start so that you can enjoy the whole story from the 4th of May through to November when it finishes, and get stressed when you don't hear from Jonathan whilst he is in Castle Dracula. Yeah.
So for about 20 years since I was 18, Dracula has been a special interest of mine. That's exciting. Okay. Very good. As for the channel, you have already heard about the goings on tomorrow with Gay Gay Gay. That's the official subheading for that game. And also Fridays, the Arrowhead game that Torrin is also in. So what else is happening? On Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, they've got a ship. And now they have to find a job and keep flying. Join storyteller Anya in Firefly Into the Black. Freaking love Firefly. Broncos forever. 8 p.m. Eastern is Roll for Luck, join our long-running anchor show for the Sapphic homebrew world of Amal Garth with Girls Run These Worlds founder Ryu as the Dungeon Mistress. It's great. It is wonderful. Do check it out. And then on Saturdays, premiere. Salvage Union, very exciting. Sakai is in there as well, as a good friend of mine. And that's 1 p.m. Eastern. Michelle is joined by a band. I know how to read. Is joined by a band of scrappy mech pilots to explore the ruins of the past. It's going to be great. Please do check it out. Wonderful game. We are going to be raiding Raid, so please do hang in for that and give them some love in chat if you can. We are going to be raiding Dice Dragons Guild, so stay tuned, and we'll see you again next week, everybody. Look after yourselves. Bye bye.